NamRa's, now established in terms of the Namibia Revenue Agency Act 12 of 2017 as an autonomous agency responsible for administering the Namibian tax laws and customs as well as excise services. The Namibia Revenue Agency is the nation's tax collection authority. The agency recently announced the deadline for filing of the 2021 income tax returns. And I'm joined this morning by Mr. Joseph Nanghonga, who is the Director at Large Taxpayers Unit at NamRa, and he joins us this morning with more. Very good morning to you, sir. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
Now, of course, we came to learn that the deadline for tax returns was the 30th of June. In terms of compliance, where does NamRa stand in terms of the tax submissions here?
Thank you for the question. In terms of compliance, when it comes to submission of returns, unfortunately, I would say the submissions that came in do not really meet the expectations as we expected, because, as you indicated, the due date or deadline was on the 30th of June. But so far, the statistics reveals that we only managed to receive relatively a number of returns that have been submitted. But then that is due to challenges that are currently being experienced by most employers with the submission of their employees' tax returns and Excel spreadsheet, uploading them onto the ITAS system.
All right. On the side of individuals, is NamRa pleased with individual tax return submissions?
Not so, because if employers are unable or do not successfully upload their employees' tax spreadsheets or returns, that impacts on the individual income taxpayers in terms of submitting their returns, because the system is designed in such a way that employers should first upload their employees' tax Excel sheets on the ITAS system to enable employees or individual income taxpayers to submit their returns successfully as well.
You mentioned that, of course, many employers had difficulty in uploading their spreadsheets on the ITAS system. The question is, what happens now?
Since we launched or introduced the integrated tax administration system, that was in January 2019, enormous effort has been made from our side to ensure that we educate the public, we educate employers, we educate individual taxpayers on how to use the ITAS system to be able to submit their returns. And despite that, the system also offers a number of services that we encourage taxpayers to make use of. A lot has been done from our side.
So it's really just a failure on the side of employers, so to say.
Yes, I would say that perhaps, but some of them, the issues are that their systems were also not compatible to ITAS. Hence they had these technical issues. But they are resolving them as we go. But as I said, the returns that have been submitted so far are not satisfactory.
Let's talk about the remedies. The Ministry of Finance through NamRa was, of course, very clear that there will be no extensions of the deadline anymore. But in light of what you just said, what does the situation look like at present?
As I earlier indicated, that since we introduced the system, enormous efforts have been made from our side to ensure that employers get up to date with their submission of their returns, as well as individual income taxpayers. But the fact still remains that they are struggling. But we did not grant a global extension, knowing that it's not a wise thing to do, although we are being considerate that the employers and individuals are struggling. But what the press that we have issued clearly indicates is that those employers or employees that are still struggling to get their records updated on the ITA system.
Yep.
On merit, they may still apply for extension. And as I speak now, we have received quite a number of requests for extensions from employers, those that are requesting on behalf of their employees, and from individual income taxpayers. And we are currently processing them, and the outcome of those requests will be communicated to them.
Yeah. Just in terms of allowing for these extensions, what exactly are you looking at in terms of allowing an individual or even a company for an extension?
As I earlier indicated, that is not what we would want, and that is not what we expected. But the current prevailing situation of the challenges that are being experienced by the employers and employees, coupled by the COVID pandemic, has made it difficult for employers. As you know that some of the companies are not working on full-time basis. They are working on shift arrangements and so forth.
Very much.
That has also contributed now to the issue that taxpayers or employers are unable to submit their returns on time. Yeah.
Perhaps you don't have this figure for us, but maybe you can just paint a picture of exactly how big a shortcoming it is. I know by September last year, there were about 10,000 companies that were yet to submit their spreadsheets. Based off the recent developments, what do those figures look like?
Yeah, in terms of the data or statistics, we expected to receive about 546,000 returns from individuals. And so far, the figures on the ITA system indicates that we have only received those that have submitted on portal, more than 35,000, which represents about only 6%, which does not indicate or show a good picture.
Very much.
Then it will really require that we urgently need to devise mechanisms or interventions to ensure that going forward, these issues of technical challenges that are being experienced by the employers are resolved without delay, so that in the future we do not find ourselves in such situations again.
Definitely, as you stated, those numbers do look grim. They do paint a grim picture. As a tax collection authority, what is the impact? What are the consequences of this?
The consequences of taxpayers not being able to submit their returns contributes to non-compliance, because one of the indicators of non-compliance is submission of tax returns as well as payments. If taxpayers are unable to submit their returns, it means those assessments remain outstanding. Although in Namibia we have a self-assessment regime where taxpayers or each taxpayer are required or expected to compute their own tax come due date, 30th of June. If you assess yourself or compute your own tax, then you would expect or you would know how much are you supposed to pay in, or in case you have a refund, or in case you do not need to pay in or get a refund.
Fantastic. Mr. Joseph, looking at the disruption in our tax collection system, so to say, impacted by COVID, impacted by the delays of the ITA system, so to say, what does that look like for our traditional deadline, which is, of course, usually the 31st of March every financial year?
In terms of this, may you please repeat the question? Yeah,
in terms of the delays that we've seen now, we've seen the extensions, a couple of extensions from last year already. That has obviously impacted our traditional date of tax return submissions, which is the 31st of March. Going forward from this point forward, what does that look like? Are we expected to submit our tax returns on the 31st of March still, or Can we expect slight adjustments to those dates as well?
There won't be slight adjustments, as earlier indicated that those employers that have requested for extension on behalf of their employees, on merit or on grounds, extension will be granted, although that's not what we would want. And going forward, we are going to embark upon intensive education programs to ensure that taxpayers, individuals, employers get to know the system very well and will be able to successfully upload their employees' tax Excel spreadsheets onto the ITAS system so that employees submit their returns and we do not find ourselves in this situation again.
Very much. For those who have questions in the meantime, for those individuals and employers who would like to, of course, arrange with NamRa with regards to submitting their tax returns, what is the avenue to follow?
For those employers or individuals that have queries or need assistance with regards to submitting of their tax returns online, they can email at info@namra.org.na, or they can also visit our website, the NamRa website, the ITAS website. Information is there, and there is also a lot of information on how to submit different types of tax returns on tax laws that we administer. Our regional centers countrywide, there are also a dedicated teams of key users that are always ready and willing to assist, and we are ready to assist.
Very much so. Just lastly, as a concluding remark from you, perhaps some emphasis on the importance of submitting tax returns in terms of compliance, just for a message to the public out there.
It's very important for all of us to comply with the tax laws of the Republic of Namibia, because research has also proven that countries that are doing so good in terms of economic advancement, it's because they have a highest degree of voluntary compliance. Hence, at this point, I'm encouraging all taxpayers to embrace the change of the ITAS revolution and start submitting. First, they should register on the ITAS portal, submit their tax returns via online, and in addition to that, the system also offers a wide range of services like request of good standing certificates, request of penalty waivings. Even taxpayers can print their own tax certificates. And part of our strategic plan is also to increase those services. And I would say NamRa is the future, and the future is now. And I would urge and encourage all taxpayers to not always wait until the last minute to submit their tax returns. Our offices are there, open to assist each and every one. And do your part, pay your taxes, submit your returns, so that you contribute to
nation building,
and positively impacting the livelihoods of all Namibians.
Very much so. Mr. Nanghonga, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and all the best to you with this daunting task.
Thank you so much.